when something bad happens, is with the idea to teach you something. It needs to teach you something. You need to get some lesson from it in order for you to go to the next step. And if you don't get the lesson, the longer you don't take the lesson, the more you repeat the same mistake, and the more you suffer. And the other side is
Hi, Milko. Great to see you. How are you doing?
Great to see you too, Yair. I'm doing amazing. Thank you for having me as a guest of your show.
Oh, for sure. My pleasure. It's an honor to have you back on the show. Really, thank you very much for your time. And we'll skip all the introduction because this next subject, I think it's really important. Many people deal with it. And whoever didn't watch the last interview that I did with Milko, it was great. Would really help you improve your health. But let's go into the subject today. Milko, we live in an era that many people change careers, or in the career, they do some type of changes. Maybe 30 years ago, was right. You went into your job and you're there for 20, 30, 40, 50 years until you retired. Today, it's not like that. That's not the situation. And I'm all in for those changes. It's great. You get to discover new areas of your life. My question is, you had a lot of that experience because you were in the tech world and you did a huge transformation and you dealt with that change. So I would love to hear from you about the process of dealing with the change, dealing with the stress that has to do with it, with that change, with uncertainty. So I would love to hear that from you. I know you also you did that to yourself. You're helping other people transform in those areas. So I'd love to hear about that.
That's a interesting question. So I think first, change in everything. It's change happens no matter if we want it or not, and in every area of life. So depending on if we want to be a part of it or not, will determine if this change is good for us or maybe not. So we can
wait, stop here, everyone. Before we continue, listen to what Milko just now said, and I'll let you continue. I know I just went in there, but change happens. Change is part of life. Listen to those words, rewind it if you need, because that's really important to understand that point. And then I'll let you talk. But the second we accept that change and we decide to be part of it, I'll let you continue. But just whoever didn't listen to that first part of Milko talking, go back right now.
So once we change happens, as I said, change happens no matter if we want it or not. We think many times, and I used to do that too, and I still do it sometimes. We reach a certain level in something, and we think that we can just stay there and nothing will change, and we will continue having whatever we're having. But that's not how life works, fortunately or unfortunately. So in my experience, and not only with myself, but with all the people that I've worked with and the people that I know, if you, no matter what you do, if you don't push and try to improve constantly, you're just going down. So it's like riding a bicycle up the hill. If you push, you go up. If you don't push, you go down. There is no middle. You can't brake. You can't stop. So that's how change is. Change happens no matter if we want it or not. So in every area of life. So then I'm a big preacher of taking responsibility. Once you take responsibility for whatever is happening to you, doesn't mean that you have control over everything, and that it's your fault, everything or anything like that. You have the responsibility to on how are you going to react on this thing. You have the power to decide what is this thing going to mean to you, how are you going to react to it, and that's when you get back power. So I'm going a bit around, but I'll explain what's the idea, because many things happen in life that we have no control, and no matter where you are, what you do, things will happen that you don't have control, like someone dies or tragedy or something bad or something good. So we can't do anything about it. Like we can't choose our parents, we can't choose our country, we can't choose our background. But where our power comes is what we do with this thing. Because we've all seen people that have it all and end up in the ditch, and we've all seen people that start from the streets and homeless and in the worst situation, and they become and build something great and amazing. So it's not where you start. Of course, it will be easier in some situations, but then no matter what is the situation, you have the responsibility to change it and to make something out of it. And once you accept this responsibility, then you actually start getting more power over your life. Of course, you can't control everything, but you can control yourself. Once you learn how to control yourself, you start gaining more power over your life. And the more responsibility you take, in a way that it's not, I'm not saying just busyness, not being busy, but taking responsibility for things, the more power you have over your life. And it so there comes to the change. So when change will happen, no matter if you want it or not. So if you don't do anything or ignore it or avoid it and trying to distract yourself all the time, then the change will most likely be not the one that you want. If you make effort constantly and you try to improve the situation, you work on whatever, because you need to work on all the main areas of life in order for them to be in a good position, in a good level, etc.
Right.
So the more you the more responsibility to take about this change, the more you have control, the more likely it is that it will be positive change. So that's I'm talking in general. I went sideways, but it goes for everything. It goes for the career, it goes for everything like that. Because you can be like, oh, as you started very good with the, it's not like 30 years from now, the 30 years ago, that you have one job and you work it for life. Now you can choose, like you can try to go for the safety work, that is something like the safety job that is supposed to be secure and provide you with your income and like not many risks. But I've seen many people that do something that they hate just because they're trying to be safe, and they get fired anyway. So it's risky, both are risky. So if you're responsible for the positive change and do the job, that trying to do the job, I'm going a bit over the place.
No, it's great. I love it because you mentioned a few really important elements, and I want to touch back and just make sure like that we understood them correctly. You know, I also always go through change, so I love that. My question number one is, you're saying change will be there anyway, whether you like it or not, and if you don't make the change, you'll be forced to change because you'll be in a place that you don't like. My main question over here is not that, and that's important understanding, but having that mindset of the responsibility, you know, is great because things will come over and we could always blame him, her, that. So I like that. But my question is, what happens when things don't work our way? And that would happen a lot during the change. So we took those 2 steps, but now when things don't work our way, how do we manage with that stress? How do we manage with not knowing what's the next step? How do we know what to do right now? Because this is a total new field for us. So we're also stressful. We also have no clue what to do. Okay, we took responsibility. We accepted the change. We went through it, but what do we do now?
Well, so I'll go a bit back to share my story so people understand what that I've been through some stuff in a way that I'm not just coming up with stuff. So I was IT, or I have masters in computer engineering and telecommunications, which I didn't want to study at the time, but it was the thing that I was thinking, because when I was like around time that you choose university, it was the thing that I was thinking I didn't know that you can make money with what you like or what you're good at and what you love, because there was no YouTube at the time. It was not that long ago, but it was, even if there was YouTube, it was not that often. Social media, all kind of stuff like that. Because, so you couldn't see that you can actually do something good and that you like in order and make good money. So I was thinking that my vision was that I'll do what makes me money. I'll make a lot of money, and then with this money, I'll do whatever I like. So
Yeah.
that's why I see it. So this is why I went to study, and I was good in math and science, and so this is why I went to study for IT. So I have masters in IT, and then I worked 6.5 years as IT. So my job was very easy. The people were very nice. I was getting very good money. I was getting more money than my anyone in my family or anyone around me, anyone I knew, and stuff like that. And I had lots of holidays. It was very nice job, but it was just inside I was feeling that there is so much more. I can do so much more with my life that, this job, I can still go there. I can still work with it. It's a nice job, nice people, but I knew there is so much more. So that forced me to go for something more. And I always been interested in health and fitness and everything related to like personal growth and stuff like that. And that made me leave the job. And for me to force myself not to go back to it, because I knew. So that brings to your point a bit. I knew that if I'm somewhere in Europe, because I wanted to leave my country and for a bit, just to like get out of IT. So I knew that if I go in Europe somewhere, because I'm from Europe, from Bulgaria, if I go in Europe, then very likely the moment it gets hard, or very hard, I will try to go back to IT. Because it's kind of like the comfort. So one thing that I did was I cut, like as they say, burn the boats. I cut my all my connections, and I went to Australia,
Wow.
where my education and my experience does not mean anything. So no one cares that I have 6.5 years in as IT. No one cared that I have masters in IT. No one cared about. I worked there as a waiter for a bit, labor and stuff like that. So
Takes courage.
yeah, so that forced me to not go back to IT. So I intentionally did this,
Yeah, it's a huge transformation. Wow.
yeah. So then the other thing, because it have been since then, it was good, bad, as you said. I took responsibility. First, I was not taking as much responsibility. I was a bit trying to blame some stuff outside of what it was my fault. And maybe it was not my fault for some stuff, but it doesn't change anything, because it doesn't matter whose fault it is. You need to take responsibility, so you take control. So once I took control and once I took responsibility and took control of my actions, so things started to improve. But something that have always kept me going, and this is why it's like a bit of a general belief about life. I believe strongly that everything happens with a reason. And on the other side, I believe that, and the more in life I go, the more I realize that is actually true. And all the things are when something bad happens, is with the idea to teach you something. It needs to teach you something. You need to get some lesson from it in order for you to go to the next step. And if you don't get the lesson, the longer you don't take the lesson, the more you repeat the same mistake, and the more you suffer. And the other side is I try to do the right thing whenever I can, if I can all the time, or whatever I believe it's right. So this way I know that whatever happens to me, because I know many people are like think, oh, that's a punishment for whatever. And I know that whatever happens to me is with a good reason, not punishing me for something that I did in the back. I don't know if it makes sense.
Yeah, but you need to learn the lesson. My question is, does that help in any way to reduce the stress? And does that help you? So you're saying that it happens for a reason and you need to find that reason. And by the way, I believe also from my life experience and changes that those lessons are much, much, much more valuable than lessons that we read in a book. But my question is, if you have learned your lesson, you did a huge shift, and of course, I'm just, going back for a second. If someone doesn't have the financial means to just stop everything, it's not good for everyone.
No,
Milko is a hard work, and he has, a hard work ethic, and he's doing great stuff in the world. But my question is that you did that huge change. You really went from one place to a total different place, and you said you're learning the lessons. But I'm trying still to understand, how did it help to reduce that stress that anyways we have in this world, and how did you know what to do next? If you went to a place that no one, basically, you moved to a total different country, like you took it to the extreme.
Yeah, so yeah, you don't need to take it to the extreme first. And second, I had the security, let's call it that way, that I knew that
it's still stressful, like even though you had that.
absolutely. So because it's because I want a massive greater change. I don't want a small improvement in my life. I went for a completely something that I didn't went the best way. But on the other side, I had the security of IT and IT experience, IT education, and which I knew that no matter how bad I screw up, I can always go back. So it was kind of like my comforting thing in order for me to I learned that I can make money no matter where I am and what, because I know that I can go, and if I have to, first I can survive with very little, and second, I can do hard work even if it's the most unpleasant. But that all comes with training. I've trained myself years and years and years and years, and I keep doing it all the time. So then the other thing is, you don't have to do it like me. You don't have to change your career like me to dump everything and risk everything. Because when I make a big mistake, when I came back from Australia to Bulgaria, I made a big mistake that I didn't prepare my things in advance, because I didn't change that much the career, because in Australia I was a wellness coach again. But I left the business without expecting the things you work out for me amazing, and everything you work out super easy, and it took me a while to actually realize that it's me that I didn't do the things, and I don't know many things for me to start running a business, for example, when it comes to business. Yeah. But you don't have to do it that way. You first you can try to save some money in advance. Try to build something, at least some basics in the beginning before you go to the other thing. So don't just, today it's I feel nice, I feel like I'll leave my job and then go and just leave your job.
Sure.
I didn't do that with Australia too. I make my research, I check my stuff and stuff like that. So
okay, but I'm trying to understand now, if I'm already in the process of the change. You had the IT behind you, and you had some type of that comfort zone. If I'm from a place I have, no experience in anything, number one. Number two, I come from a place that, like I said, I don't know what to do. So you always, you said focus on the next step, but I want to actually understand what are the steps people can take, like in order to focus on that next step. What can they do? Number one. Number two, what can they do in terms of nutrition or health or something, like you deal with that a lot, in order to reduce that stress, because they're already in the process, they started.
Okay, so it's very important. It took me a while to focus, especially in the beginning, when you don't have any experience or you're not sure. Focus on one skill you can develop or you want to develop that you think will serve you a lot. And then put your focus completely on this skill to master it. And in order for you to master a skill, you need to put yourself out and do the work. So if you want to become a great coach, even if you read all the coaching books in the world, you are not going to become as great as if you go and coach like 1,000 people. So start doing it for free, start working for someone.
Take action, you're saying. Take action.
Yes, action. And 5% learning, 95% action, because through action we learn the best.
Sure.
Second thing is normal. It doesn't matter what's the skill. Most of the times we are not selling our service and we don't make money because we are not good enough in this skill. Do you hear me?
Yeah, I'm listening.
Okay, because it's a bit slow, the screen. So you need to put your focus in developing a skill that in a way that is so good that people cannot ignore it, so then clients will start coming. If you coach 50 people and you give them amazing results, people will start coming no matter what. If you do it, even 10 people, if you coach, let's say coaching again, but with any product, if you have an amazing product, and if you spend 20 years developing the amazing product and no one ever uses it, no one ever sees what is it, doesn't matter if you have the best product.
Yep.
And, so that's one side. The other side is taking care of the health, like eating simple, basic food, exercising every day, spending time in nature as much as you can.
How much time exercise?
It depends how you move, how much you move during the day and stuff like that. I would say minimum 30 minutes exercise if you're active. If you sit all day, it's better to do a few different, like do some walking, do some exercising and stuff like that. The more you move, the better, because when you move, you balance your hormones, your stress level reduces significantly, your have better clarity of mind, your mind works better, and so on and so forth. You're more productive and stuff. So that's one thing. Movement, spending time in nature as much as you can, sunlight, fresh air. That's also amazing for stress, anxiety, and stuff like that. Doing some power poses and breathing exercises. That's something that you bring your stress levels every day, like all the time. You need to do something like that every day. And one of the biggest things, if you can, it sounds stupid, but it's very effective, is 30 minutes if you're in a situation that things are hard at the moment and you need to deal with lots of things. So 30 minutes, first thing in the morning, you get up, 30 minutes or 20 minutes or even 10 minutes, listen to something motivational, like that you pump you up. I know motivation doesn't last forever, but it puts you in the right state. It challenges you. Of course, nice motivation. I'm not talking to put some meditation, because meditation is good, but if it relaxes you too much, you can be like, oh, I don't want to do anything. If something that inspires you, that triggers you inside, pick someone. For me, Tony Robbins, Les Brown, it's like such a strong power. Or play some song that inspires you. Everything external that can boost you while you're going to the hard moment, it will help you go through it faster. Of course, you learn, eventually you need to learn how to deal with it yourself, but that's things that like let's say a healthy snack, it gives you a little push. It's not going to make you healthy forever, but it will give you this little push, and little push here, and then eventually you reach the level of thing. So
wow.
It's combination of things, small things, but make a big difference. And whenever you feel stressed, that's one of the best things. Whenever you feel stressed, play some nice song that you love, but it's like festive song. Get up, stand up, stretch a bit, jump around like a little kid, like stupid, do something stupid, some a few deep breaths. Yeah, then everything, every small thing like that can immediately change your state. So you're stressed, you feel worried, get up, jump around, do some stupid thing, play some stupid music, or not stupid music, play some cool music, and it will change completely the way you feel, and then you can go back to work and be more productive, more, and no matter how many times it happened throughout the day, go to it, go. Just the problem is that it's so simple that we forget it, and then instead of using it in our advantage, we forget about it, and then that's why we suffer so much, because we don't really get use the tools that we have.
Wow, Milko, beautiful tools you just now provide us over here. You know, I think there's so many things you just now said, and all of them are amazing. For people that never have done any of them, you know, my personal recommendation will be to start with one, because each one of the tools that Milko just now mentioned are really powerful tools that can really help transform your life. And like Milko, like you said, it's not a one-time action. It's turning it into a routine, putting it into our daily routine. And again, step by step, if you have nothing if you have, I'll say, no connection to those type of routines. So I really appreciate Milko sharing all that. I think another thing, in addition to all what you said, is that, you know, that I love things, but many times there's uncertainty in those times. Like you said, you did like really courageous steps in order to get to where you are today. And I think in all of that uncertainty, many times it's really important to create certainty. So do things during the day that you know they're in your schedule, like you're certain about them, or have that good night of sleep that you know you go to sleep at 10 o'clock, wake up at 6, whatever it is, whatever the times are, but you know you get that good night's sleep and you create that certainty in the uncertainty. So Milko, I think all the things you said are amazing, and the you know what I love about you, that you always improve, you always learn, you always, you know, continue to grow, and you're also always pushing, like, you know, that's the nature of a human being, because like you said at the beginning, if we don't do that, if we don't go up, the change will happen, but it would happen that way. So there's so much to learn from you, and I really appreciate you sharing that knowledge and, you know, bringing us over here, bringing it here to us. So thank you very much for that. Appreciate your time. Just one last question: if someone wants to reach you and needs some help through any change they're going in life, whether it's career or health coaching or something like that, is there a place they can reach you? Maybe we can leave it in the comments below.
Yes. So first, I want to say what you said about the one thing. If you need to choose one thing, it's drink more water, and it's a bit two things, but they come together. Spend as much time as possible in nature. That's the best cure of all. And if someone wants to reach me, is Milko Kukov, MILKO KUKOV, everywhere. So YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook.
Amazing.
Yes, whoever wants, they can reach me there. Thank you.
Perfect.
Yeah,
Thank you. Thank you very much, Milko. I appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed the video and you got some tools to overcome your challenges and light your path. For us to help other people, please press that thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. And don't forget that the most amazing things in life are the one you take for granted.